Some videos only take a few minutes for the audience to watch. But behind those few minutes, there can be dozens of hours in front of the screen, hundreds of small adjustments, and many moments where I ask myself, does this scene feel real enough? Can the audience actually feel the passage of time? For me, creating a time-lapse video is not just about making a few beautiful images and putting them together. It feels more like rebuilding an entire historical journey. From an untouched landscape, a small village, an old harbor, or a forgotten riverbank, to a modern city filled with skyscrapers, lights, streets, traffic, and the rhythm of human life. Every video starts with one simple question: how has this city changed over time? But answering that question through visuals is never simple. The first step is always research. I need to understand where the city began, which historical milestones truly mattered, which periods changed its appearance, which buildings came first, which ones appeared later, and which moments are so important that the video would lose its soul without them. For example, when creating a video about a city like London, I cannot only show the audience a modern city in 2026. I have to go far back in time, back to the Roman era, to ancient walls, early settlements along the River Thames, medieval streets, the Great Fire, the Industrial Revolution, wartime destruction, reconstruction, and finally the modern London we recognize today. Every period must have a reason to appear. It is not enough for a scene to simply look beautiful. It has to feel true to the spirit of its time. After the research is done, I start dividing the video into different time periods. This is where the project begins to feel like building a map of time. I decide which scene should open the video, which moment should become a major transition, which period needs to slow down so the audience can feel it, and which part should move faster to create the feeling of time passing. To me, a good time-lapse video is not a video that moves fast all the time. If everything moves too quickly, the audience gets tired. That is why I usually combine normal cinematic scenes with time-lapse scenes. There are moments where I let the pace slow down, almost like a still frame from a film, so the audience can look at the environment, the atmosphere, the lighting, the people, and the architecture. Then, I let time begin to move. Buildings rise, roads expand, bridges are built, lights appear, traffic grows, the sky changes, and the city slowly enters a new chapter. One of the hardest parts of making this kind of video is keeping the camera angle stable. I always want the audience to feel as if they are standing in the same place, watching time pass right in front of them, not jumping from one completely different camera angle to another. So when I create the visuals, I have to constantly control the composition. The horizon line has to make sense. The position of the river, the roads, the buildings, the trees, and the lighting all need to feel connected. If the previous scene shows an empty piece of land, the next scene has to show development growing naturally from that same place. It cannot suddenly turn into a completely different city. That is what makes the process take so much time. Some scenes look beautiful at first glance, but I still have to remove them because they do not fit the timeline. Some scenes look epic, but the architecture belongs to the wrong period. Some scenes have amazing lighting, but the composition no longer matches the scenes before them. And sometimes, AI creates something that looks impressive, but when I place it into the video, it destroys the feeling of natural historical growth. When that happens, I have to start again, not once, but many times. After the visual stage, I move into motion. This is where the video truly begins to come alive. For the time-lapse scenes, I have to write prompts carefully so the movement looks clean, clear, and logical. I do not want buildings to transform in a strange or unnatural way. I want them to rise little by little, as if real people were actually building that city across many years. Trees change, streets develop, light shifts, clouds move, smoke appears gently during industrial periods, traffic slowly increases in the modern era. All of these details may seem small, but when they are placed together, they create the feeling that time is truly passing. For normal scenes, I handle the motion differently. I want the movement to feel more natural and cinematic. Maybe a slow camera push-in, a little parallax, a subtle change in light, a few people moving in the distance, just enough to make the frame feel alive, but not so many that it becomes distracting. One thing I always try to avoid is chaos. Because in a historical time-lapse video, if there are too many people, too many cars, and too much movement happening at the same time, the audience will no longer see the main transformation of the city. After I have all the images and motion clips, I begin the editing stage. This is the stage where all the separate pieces become one complete story. I arrange every scene in the correct timeline. I adjust the pacing. I cut anything unnecessary. I keep the moments that carry emotion. I add sound. I add music. I add transitions carefully. And most importantly, I try to make the audience feel like they are going through a journey, not just watching a collection of beautiful visuals. There are parts I have to watch again and again. If a scene moves too quickly, I slow it down. If a section feels too slow, I make it tighter. If an important period does not feel strong enough, I add another scene. If the music does not match the emotion of the visuals, I change it. Everything has to serve the final experience of the viewer. Because my goal is not only to make a beautiful video, I want the viewer to feel as if they are witnessing hundreds or even thousands of years of history unfold in just a few minutes. I want them to understand that a great city does not appear out of nowhere. It is built by time, by war and peace, by people who lived, worked, built, disappeared, and left something behind for the generations after them. By small dirt roads, by low rooftops, by the first bridges, by iconic landmarks, by moments of destruction, and by moments of rebirth. That is why I enjoy making time-lapse videos, because it feels like I am not only creating content, I am telling the transformation of the world through images. Every city has its own soul. New York has a strong, ambitious, and intense rhythm of growth. Tokyo carries a powerful mix of tradition, modernity, and unbelievable rebirth. Hanoi holds deep layers of history, memory, culture, and time. London, Istanbul, Dubai, Madrid, each place tells a completely different story. And every time I start a new video, it feels like opening a new door into the past. Of course, the process is never easy. There are moments when I run out of ideas. There are scenes that do not come out right. There are edits that look finished, but still do not feel emotional enough. Sometimes, just one small wrong detail can make me redo an entire sequence. But those difficulties are what make the final result more valuable. Because when the video is finally complete, and I look back at the full journey from the earliest year to the present day, I see something very special. Time. Not only the time inside the video, but also the time I spent researching, testing, adjusting, and improving every single frame. And if you are watching this video, you may only be seeing the final result, but behind it are many failed attempts, many revisions, and a lot of effort to turn an idea in my mind into a complete visual journey. That is the process behind one of my time-lapse videos. It is not just about creating images. It is not just about editing clips together. It is about trying to recreate history, development, and the soul of a city through the flow of time. And to me, that is what makes this format so fascinating. Because in just a few short minutes, we can witness how an entire world has changed. From the past, to the present, and maybe even into the future.